It's May 7th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a prisoner saved by isolation, a ruler preserved in death, and a serial killer terrified of what would happen after he died. Let's begin. On May 7, 1902, a drunken man, Ledger Stilberis, was thrown into solitary confinement after a violent bar fight. Guards locked him inside a dark stone cell that was partially buried beneath the hillside, a chamber designed to make prisoners disappear. Outside the city, St. Pierre carried on as normal, beneath the shadow of Mount Pelée. The mountain had already begun to wake up, and through the night, ash drifted above the sky. The ground trembled, and animals fled. Then the next morning, the mountain exploded. A wall of superheated gas, ash, and rock, hotter than 1,000 degrees Celsius, tore through St. Pierre at nearly hurricane speeds. In less than 2 minutes, the city was erased. Nearly 30,000 people were burned alive where they stood, and inside the underground cell, Stilberis heard screaming. Boiling air forced through the cracks of the prison door, scorched his skin in the darkness, and he pressed himself against the floor, praying that the stone would hold. 4 days later, he remained trapped beneath the ruins, badly burnt and surrounded by silence. The rescuers heard his faint cries coming from underground. Against all odds, the prisoner everyone had forgotten was still alive. Imagine surviving the end of your city because you got arrested the night before. History is full of moments where pure bad luck somehow becomes good luck. On May 7, 1821, inside an isolated house on the remote island of St. Helene, doctors prepared to preserve the face of one of history's most feared emperors. Napoleon Bonaparte had died in exile, thousands of miles from the empire he once ruled. Outside Longwood House, cold Atlantic winds swept across the cliffs, and inside his body lay silent beneath candlelight, as surgeons mixed wet plaster for a strange and unsettling ritual. Death masks were common before photography, but this one carried an enormous weight. Men in the room understood they were about to capture the final expression of a man who conquered Europe. They pressed plaster directly onto Napoleon's face. As the mold hardened, every detail became frozen in time. But almost immediately, controversy surrounded the mask. Some claimed the original mask was secretly stolen, others argued who made it. Multiple copies appeared across Europe, each claiming it was the real face of Napoleon. More than 200 years later, and historians still debate which death mask is the real one. On May 7, 1896, one of America's most infamous killers walked calmly towards a gallows in Philadelphia. H. Holmes had spent years luring his victims into his labyrinth-like murder castle in Chicago, where hidden rooms, secret passageways, and soundproof chambers fueled terrifying rumors across the country. But as the noose tightened around his neck, he was no longer afraid of death. He was afraid of what would happen to his body afterwards. Before his execution, Holmes made a strange final request. He demanded to be buried deep underground with a coffin entirely filled with cement. He feared grave robbers would steal his corpse, the same way he had once done to bodies during medical school. After his hanging, workers lowered him nearly 10 feet into the earth, filled his coffin with a massive barrel of concrete, creating what was essentially an underground vault. For more than a century, rumors spread that Holmes had actually escaped his execution, vanishing. Some even believed he became Jack the Ripper. But then, in 2017, investigators finally opened the grave. They found the concrete had preserved the body, his clothes were still visible, and part of his mustache remained intact. Then dental records confirmed the terrifying truth. H. Holmes did in fact never escape at all. In the end, he became terrified that his own body would be stolen the same way he stole others. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.